Hello, today I'm going to be showing you how I make a quilted pillow with a zippered back. So to begin with, I have a pre-made pillow form, and you can buy these the size that you want them to be, or you can make your own. So I have that. I also have a quilted piece here. I've pieced this together. This was a pattern that I found on Riley Blake's blog. I believe it was Make It Modern Pillows from 2023, I believe. So I have pieced the quilt top here for my pillow, and I've quilted it. So I just picked a piece of white fabric. It was scraps, so I did have to piece it, and this will be on the inside of your pillow, so you're never going to see it anyway. And then I did put some batting in there and just did some straight line quilting on it. I am also going to be using minky for the back of the pillow. And then I have a zipper that is longer than my pillow and just a piece of scrap fabric. So to begin, I am going to trim the edges off of the pillow, and that is the extra batting and backing. And I'm just taking my rotary cutter and I'm going to do that. And I'm making it the size of my pillow form. So I'm just going to trim all four sides. And I will be putting a binding on the pillow when it is completed. So I just am leaving a little bit of extra space there on the outside, because that's where my binding's going to be sewn onto, and then I didn't really want to cut off the pretty pieces that are the top of my pillow. So, okay, so now we have that trimmed up, and then what I'm going to do is take my backing fabric, and as I said, I'm using minky, and this is actually a piece that I cut off of the bottom of a quilt that I had, so it's just a scrap piece, and so it's harder to use sometimes, just little pieces like this that are left over, and so they work perfect for backing it to a pillow. So the first thing I'm going to do then is just kind of measure the backing, and I want it to be about 1 inch larger than the top of my pillow so that I have some fabric to work with. And because this is minky, I don't like to use my rotary cutter and my mat, just because as you're cutting, it kind of digs all the little fibers down into the cutting mat, and I'm not a fan of that. So I'm just going to take a pen and a ruler, and I'm just going to draw a line. And then I actually like to take this outside, and I will just scissor cut it and then shake it really good, so all the little fibers that come off when you cut it will be then outside and not in my cutting area or around the cutting table. And I'm just going to mark that line on both sides. This side happens to be the selvage edge, so I do want to take that off. So that's a good enough line that I can see to cut it. And so I'm going to cut 2 pieces, and 2 pieces the same width, and then we'll come back and I'll show you the next step. Okay, I have cut the width of my pillow, and it's a square pillow, so I just made sure that it is approximately 1.5 to 2 inches wider than the actual pillow top. And then the next step that I'm going to do is I'm going to prepare my zipper. So this is just a plastic zipper so I can sew over it. It's much longer than what it needs to be. And so what I like to do with the zipper is I want it to be 1 inch shorter on each side than the pillow top. So I'm going to go ahead and just put a pin, and I'm just going to kind of eyeball it. It doesn't have to be real exact, just so it's going to be shorter than the pillow width, because when I add the binding here, I don't want to be trying to sew through all the layers and a zipper. So I'm gonna make a little tab that goes on each side of the zipper. And so I have a scrap piece of fabric here, and it is about a little bit bigger than the width of the zipper. So I think I cut this at 1¼ inch wide. And then I'm just gonna make some little tabs to put onto the ends of the zipper. And then that's what's going to extend beyond the edge of my pillows. And that's what gets caught in the binding. So it's a much thinner layer than adding an extra thickness in that binding. At the sewing machine, I go in ahead and cut my little scrap pieces of fabric just in half, so it's quite a bit of length on there, but we can trim that down later. And so I'm first going to do the end where I'm going to be cutting through and sewing over the zipper teeth. So what I will do, I know I want it to be that length there where I have my pin. So I'm putting my fabric on top and I am overlapping that pin so that my end of the fabric is going 1/4 inch past that pin. Okay, and then I'm going to do a rough 1/4 inch seam. So I'm actually stitching then where the pin is. And let me get that underneath there. And I do have a zipper foot on, and I've made sure that I've moved the needle over so that it doesn't cause any problems with the presser foot. And then I'm just going to stitch straight across that. And I am going to back stitch a few times. And I back stitched a few times, especially over the area where the teeth are, because I don't want that to pop open. And because I've stitched it, it's not going to. So then when I pull this back, now I can trim away. I've got some threads here. So I'm just gonna cut that zipper, and then this just becomes, I can just discard that. And then when I pull this back, now I have a long tail. It's not finished on the edges, but it is going to be inside the pillow and you're really not gonna see it. So I don't go take the time to make that real pretty or finish the edges. It's just holding it into the pillow so I can have a thin layer to attach my binding to. Okay, and now I'm going to do the end that has the zipper pull on it. And same concept. So I'm just laying this over the ends. I've got my fabric right side down to the top of the zipper. And I want to be very careful when I'm sewing this so that I'm not getting into the zipper pull or the top of that zipper pull. I just want to stitch the fabric across the top of that zipper there. And I've just back stitched it real quick, nothing pretty, just to hold it in place. And then as I pull on my fabric pieces, you can see there. And I've got, you know, a gap here where the zipper is not zip shut, but it's open, but that's okay. So if you didn't want that, you could stitch it a little bit closer to there, but I'm okay with that. So now we have our zipper prepared. The zipper has been prepared, and so now I'm ready to work on the backing of my pillow, and it's the minky. I have the right side of the minky facing down, so the wrong side is facing up. And what I'm going to be doing is folding an edge back to create the flap that's going to go over my zipper. So my zipper is going to be hidden underneath this flap. So in order to do that, the first thing I'm going to do is I have a fairly straight edge here. And so I'm going to use a measurement of 3 inches. And so I'm marking 3 inches from that edge, and I'm going to draw a line. And again, I'm just using a pin. It doesn't matter. It's going to be on the inside of your pillow, so you're not going to see it. And then what I'm going to do is use an Elmer's glue stick. And my goal here is to take this edge and bring it up to the edge of the drawn line, like that. So that's why I picked 3 inches, and then I'm actually having a piece here that's 1.5 inches wide, so that when I attach my zipper, I do have an overhang that's going to be covering it. So I'm going to go ahead and put some glue, and I believe that one is out, so let's get a different one. Okay, I have a glue stick here that actually has some glue in it, so I am going to just put a little bit along towards the edge. So I don't want to get it on the line where I'm going to bring my edge and fold it back to, but I do want it on the other part so that it at least sticks to each other when I fold it. And the reason I use the glue is minky is stretchy and thick, and it can sometimes get distorted when you are sewing on it. So this just kind of helps keep everything in place without having to worry about a pin or, you know, something else that you have to stop and adjust. So I'm going to then take my edge and then just gently fold it up to that drawn line and just kind of tap it into place, because again, I don't want to stretch anything, I don't want to distort it. And this is washable glue, so if you wash your pillow, the pillow top, then it, you know, it's going to come out, it's going to be totally fine. So okay, now I have that done. So now I have a nice edge there that is folded. And then I'm going to take my zipper and I'm going to put my zipper right sides down, and I'm centering it in the width of my pillow back here. So I don't want to go, you know, right to the edge here. I want it to be centered. So I've got about the same amount of fabric on each side. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put just a few pins, because I don't want that to move, but I don't want to over pin it. So I'm pinning this in place, and I'm just lining up the edge of my zipper with that folded edge of the fabric. Again, this is a raw edge of the fabric. It's a raw edge of the piece of fabric here, but it's okay because it's inside your pillow and you're never gonna have to see it. So, okay, I'm just gonna put a few pins to hold that in place. And then we're gonna go ahead and go to the sewing machine and stitch that together. Now I'm going to stitch approximately 1/4 inch away from the edge here. And I do, again, have my zipper foot on so that when I get to the part where my zipper is, it isn't going to get caught in the zipper or anything like that. So I just got my machine set to a straight stitch. And I'm just going to stitch right along that zipper. I've got my zipper lined up to the edge of my fold. Okay, and then I did a few back stitches there, and I'm going to cut my thread. And then if we flip this over, so now we're looking at the right side of the pillow, and we can see the stitch line there, and if I flip that up, I can see the right side of my zipper. Okay, so now we're going to add the second piece of the backing. To prepare for adding the second piece, I am going to fold back the minky on the piece that we've already added to the zipper, and I'm just going to put a few pins just to hold that out of my way. I don't want to catch that when I'm sewing the other side on. So I'm just pinning that back so it's out of the way. And then what I'm going to do is take my second piece of backing, the minky, and I am going to flip that, and then I'm kind of lining up the edges of the pillow here, but it is oversized, so if it's not exact, it's okay, because we're going to trim it off anyway. And then I'm just going to line up that edge along the edge of this zipper. So I'm just going to hold that there. This raw edge is right next to the raw edge of the zipper, and then I'm just going to stitch that. So let's go ahead and do that now. Okay, I've got that under my foot, and again, I'm going to just kind of stitch a 1/4 inch away from, probably a little less than that, from the edge of that fabric. And I didn't pin anything. I'm just going to kind of hold it in place and just go ahead and stitch down. Okay, I've stitched that, so now let's take a look at it. And again, it is minky, it is stretchy, so it did shift a little bit, but that's okay. And now I have, when I fold that back, I've got my zipper visible here. Here's the end of my zipper, and I can open that up and you can see where the pillow's gonna go. Zip it closed. Now I can remove these pins where I've kind of just used those to hold that flap out of my way. And then when I put this over, you can see how that then covers the zipper. The zipper's underneath there, so the zipper then won't be exposed. It's gonna look like the back of your pillow is just one entire piece. Okay, let's go take another look at laying it on with the pillow top. Okay, now we're looking at the back side of the pillow. So this is the minky facing right side up. And then there's my little fold. You can see the zipper there. You can barely even see the fabric that we've added to the tab. And most of that's going to get cut away too. So looks good. We've got the zipper right how we want it. And so now I'm going to turn that so that it is right sides down. And I'm just making sure that that zipper flap, this flap here of our fabric, I am going to just line it up. I'm using the lines on my mat, and I'm just picking any line to make sure that it is going straight across there. And then I'm going to gently fold this back. Okay, and I got everything flat. Now I'm going to take my pillow top and I'm going to center it over the backing. I'm going to move it so you can see it better. Okay, make sure I'm still lined up on a line. Just shift it a little bit. So I'm on this line here, okay. So this is very flat. The wrong side of my pillow back is facing up. And now I'm going to put the pillow top over the zipper and the backing. And the reason I picked a line on my mat is because I want this to be straight across my pillow. I don't want it to be sideways or going at an angle. So that helps me keep that straight. Again, this is oversized. You can see all of the extra that we have, and that's going to get cut away. But I don't want to use that to be my guidelines of trying to line it up. So I do have a seam here on my pillow top that goes straight across, And so I am also going to orient that so that it is going to be coming out at the same place on both sides, so that it is going to be straight across the back of my pillow. Now, right now I have it positioned so it's in the center of my pillow. I could adjust this if I want it closer to the bottom of the pillow. I can move it there. If I want it closer to the top, I can move it this way. I did purposely not trim down my pieces here just so I could have that option when it came to putting it on my pillow. So I think I do like it kind of centered, maybe a little bit off center, just a little bit. And this pillow, doesn't matter how I turn it, there is no top, bottom, or right way that it's going. So I'm not really concerned about my zipper pull being on one side versus the other. I just know that it is straight along the back side of the pillow top. So I like where that's at. Again, I'm just going to kind of move it so my line looks fairly straight. And then I am going to pin the pillow top to the backing fabric. And just a few pins all the way around just to hold it in place, because now we've got it oriented and we don't want it shifting on us. Okay. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and finish pinning that, and then we're going to go back to the sewing machine and we're just going to stitch all the way around each side of the pillow. I'm at the machine. I have put my walking foot on just because it's easier to sew through all the layers. And now I'm going to just do a straight stitch, not quite a 1/4 inch in from the edge. It's a little bit less than that, because I know that if I go too deep, my binding won't cover it, but yet I want my pillow to be attached to the backing. So I'm stitching close to the edge, but not a specific 1/4 inch or anything, just so that I know that when I put my binding on, it's going to be covering that set of stitches. Okay, and then when I come to the join, I just want to make sure that my flap that is going over the back of the zipper, that it is facing flat, it's facing downward. I don't have it flipped up or anything. And when I come to a corner, I'm just putting my needle down, and then I'll gently turn the fabric. And I'm not sewing over any pins, so that one was pinned a little bit close to the end, so I'm removing it. And again, I'm just making sure that that zipper flap back there is laying flat, that it didn't get tucked up under. Okay, I came back to where I started, and so I just patched it about 1/2 inch, and I did do some back stitching. So I can go ahead and remove my pins. And then I'm going to go ahead and go outside again and just take my scissors and cut right along the edge of that. Just going to trim that backing fabric away from the pillow top. And then we'll take a look and see what we got. Okay, so I've trimmed away all the extra backing fabric from around the edge of the pillow, and I'm going to flip it over. Okay, and then here you can see where I have the flap, and I'm going to kind of hold it where you can kind of see here. So when I lift this up, that's where my fabric has been added, and you can't really see it. You can barely see it. So again, not finishing those edges is okay because it's getting caught in those seams and you won't see it regardless. So then I can open my pillow. There you can see you've got plenty of room to insert the pillow form when it's time to do that. And everything is nice and flat. The zipper is enclosed in there, so it looks like you've got just a continuous piece of backing, but yet you're still able to take the pillow out if you did want to just pop this in the wash and clean it at any time. So the last thing I have to do is go ahead and cut my binding strips, and I'm just doing a normal 2.5 inch binding, and I'm going to go ahead and add that to the outside, and then we'll see what our pillow looks like. Okay, I'm so excited how the pillow turned out. Here it is from the front, and I just chose like a black and white stripe because I love a stripe on the binding. And I went ahead and just did the normal binding. I stitched it to the back side, wrapped it around, and then top stitched it on the front side. And the reason I like to do pillows this way with the zipper closure and the binding is that it remains a square. When I put my pillow in it, I don't like lose my corners, or it gets kind of maybe not so square looking. So this just gives it a nice finished look, and I really like that I'm able then to unzip it, take this off, and throw it in the washing machine if it gets dirty. And that way I can enjoy my pillows. So let's go ahead and stuff it. So I'm going to unzip it and then just take the pillow form and kind of fold it in on itself a little bit and push it in. And then I'm going to just kind of stick my hand in and pull the corner so that it's going into the corner of the pillow. And I want it to fill all the sides. Okay. And then I'm going to close the zipper. Again, with that zipper, and I put that fabric tab on it, all you see is just a little tiny bit. But what that allows me to do then is put this binding on so that I'm not sewing through all the thicknesses of the zipper. Okay, and then I'm just going to zip that shut. And then that flap just goes right over the zipper as if it's not even there. And then there is our completed pillow. And again, you can kind of see that it does maintain its squareness. You can see all the edges of the pillow, and I think the binding just gives it a really neat look. Thanks for watching. I hope you'll give this a try. Thanks a lot.